Alright, everybody, and we are pretty much good to go with the live stream. Sorry about that delay. It was basically down to the fact that my computer, my microphones were futzing up, as it were. But we are all good to go, and we are joined once again by Haverok and Sophie B. So, hello, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, cool. So, this is the first time that you've been to one of these, the What If Roundtable is a weekly live stream where I and Haverok and Sophie, the three of us, we take a look at your what ifs, and we've got a lot of them in the backlog. So, if you've done one right now, the best advice I can give you in the future is to get here early, because it's going to take a while, but we're going to rattle through. So if you don't know, you can leave a super chat, so means you can have your what if then actually read out, and we can assess it right in the here and now. Or alternatively, I'm working on a 2020 Dragon Ball PC project to create the ultimate Dragon Ball themed PC to upgrade my my current tower. So if you want to contribute towards that, then you can just check the instructions down below. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really awesome. But anywho, we must not waste any time. In short, super chat, you got an idea what if? Leave it down there. And it also, if we really like it, it may possibly be made into a video. We have previous about that. Because at least the last 2 or 3 of them have actually been really, something derived from actual ideas from the round table. And by the way, let's get these likes over 200 likes on the thing. Just get that right up there. Thank you very much. Now let's get to it. Oh, yes, Sophie?
Oh, I was just saying, give us your thumbs.
Give us the thumbs. We want your thumbs. Oh, there we go. It's 71 already. Nice. Okay, let's kick off.
Give us this like spirit bomb with your thumbs.
Nice.
Oh my.
All right.
Okay, so let's get started.
Let's get started. George J. In the Goku defeats Roshi timeline, will Goku be more receptive to his Saiyan heritage? Oh, you'll look forward to that.
Need to wait and see.
We were just talking about
that. Next episode is already written.
Yes, we'll have that. We'll have that ready for you. I recorded it today, so that will be out next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. George J again. What if Bardock instead snared the Ginyu Force after the Ginyus go home in the female Goku timeline? Perhaps they run into and fall under the little wizard's spell. Would this be an interesting outcome? Well, in short, and apologies if you hear screaming in the background, that's Philly playing Minecraft. We're part of a little server. We're part of a little server. I've been streaming Minecraft every day on Twitch last week, so if you want to go check that out, twitch.tv/MasakoX_TFS. I'm streaming there every day, except for today, because I'm with you guys today. But yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea. But at the same time, it really depends, because I think at this moment, Barbody's kind of nestling with Majin Buu. So I think Buu's much more of a thrilling prospect. And also, the link between Bibidi and... Unless Barbody is just bored. That's the only thing I could think of. Right, let's keep going. Paparazzi. Goku Blackheart played out like World's Strongest. Interesting. So, like...
So, like, a situation where, in this case, Zamasu, like... actively fights the Z Fighters and steals Goku's body during
okay. So like Goku Black's the end boss. Yeah, that could be fun. That could be a fun, interesting spin.
It would be interesting if the stakes, because I think it would kind of make, because it'd be a situation of how do we get Goku, like you could make it kind of like the Ginyu arc of Namek Saga, but instead of making it we just have to get Goku in the way of Ginyu's next beam, like have Goku Black like outright destroy the body swapped Goku Zamasu, so he's, then they have to figure out like, well, how do we bring Goku back into his body without like being the guy who stole it,
No, that's true. That could be definitely a good point. Anyway, George J, again, what if Wheelo and the Super Androids teamed up? Coaching discovers 13, 14, 15 in one of Duro's labs and brings them back to Wheelo. He could then base his new body off them. Could his robot reboot work? Well, if you want to go by the DBZA logic, it's because they might not have a schlong.
He can't take their bodies. No penis.
Yeah, that's pretty... That's the... Can't! No penis! I just was like, okay. I love that, but also was curious by that. But that's the logic for this one. Nick Wolf, what if Goku landed on the lookout? Super Kami Goku. That was Nick Wolf's idea. That's a funny idea. I'm not sure whether it would work or not, but it would be pretty interesting. As in, like, Kami would look after him. But would Kami do that, or would he then find him family? I think he'd find him family.
I think it would be more of a situation where he'd be like, "Oh, this child has landed on the lookout. Mr. Popo, please find him a suitable family."
Yes.
And maybe he would do a sort of thing where he'd be like checking in on the child that landed on the lookout. All those.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. That seems pretty fair. Okay, Heartless Fang. I feel like Ultimate Gohan is boring because there are no drawbacks to his form and it's easy to use. How would you make it more interesting? Different modes? Well, I think the thing about Ultimate Gohan is that it really stoked his Saiyan nature. Ultimate Gohan was cocky, and that cost him. And that cost him bad. And had Ultimate Gohan not had that attitude, and he still had the same logical thing that Gohan had, Boo would have been defeated.
Well, and you also have to remember that one of the things about Gohan is that it was kind of supposed to be the pinnacle of power at This was supposed to be the final arc of Dragon Ball. It was the big like ending, and the Elder Kai is like, I have unleashed all of the possible latent potential within you. Like, you don't need to transform, you don't need to do anything. Your power is just out. And I feel it only seems boring because of like physically appearance wise, it looks a little plain. Or it's boring compared to stuff that came afterwards that's all, retconning.
No, I'd agree with that. That's a fair point. Hello?
Yeah, right, cool. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I think he just suddenly cut out. Alright, Nick Wolf again. What if Trunks was the son of Vegeta and Launch? Well, he wouldn't be called Trunks, that's for sure. He'd probably be called Vegeta the Fifth or something like that.
Yeah. Also, his personality would be jumping more from his, polite future Trunks self to the cocky Trunks from the end of Z.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
No, not the end of Z, but Busaga.
Yeah,
Busaga,
no, definitely. Kid Trunks. I think
yeah.
Okay, Heartless Fang again. What if Goku knew the fusion dance in Dragon Ball? So, like in the original one, he'd fuse probably with Krillin, and we'd have Gokudin.
Like in Dragon Ball fusions.
Pretty much, yeah. Or Gokin. Or Gokurin. Yeah. We pretty much have that, so just check out Dragon Ball Fusions, because that's a brilliant game. Heartless Fang again. Oh, no, it's Nick Wolf. What if Androids 17 and 18 were Tao and Crane Hermit Shen? Oh, okay.
Well, it kind of would have... I don't see that happening, mostly for one major reason, and that's because that, like, having the tie into the Red Ribbon Army makes a good deal of sense, but it works better when you've got a creator like Jiro and not like somebody who was outright like, he was a mercenary. Tao.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got to remember that if the question's 17 and 18, it's like, well, 17 and 18 were designed after Bulma got complaints about the fact that 19 and 20 were an old man and a fat clown robot. So... To go and then make it two old men would have been a little bit weird.
Yeah, it would have gone against the initial idea. I think so. I agree. Nick Wolf again. What if Goku had another heart scare before the Cell games? Well, I actually kind of came up with an idea where in one of the movie what ifs, that it was basically in movie 7. It's like Goku had a heart scare. But it was like it went away. But let's say if it happened around the androids and his ki just flickered around a little bit, but he was still technically conscious. And then it flared up before the Cell games. But if that did happen, it depends on when it did happen. If it happened right as soon as the Cell games were announced, Goku might just about make it. But he'd get a Zenkai boost, though. That could be interesting. He'd be more powerful. But he would still want to go ahead with his plan.
Yeah.
Would be kind of funny if it happened in the Room of Spirit and Time.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, no, that's something. I actually did that for What If Goku Married Bulma. Basically, Bulma Krillin took Goku to the Room of Spirit and Time, and he recovered in there. He like recovered. It took him like about 1 Earth hour or something like that to recover, and that would have been like a couple of weeks. But yeah, Zyko the Psycho. Yeah. What if Frieza managed to unalive Goku after Goku gave him his energy? In short, what if Frieza beat Goku on Namek? YT won't let me use the K word. Oh, okay. So basically, it's like managed to unalive. So basically, when Goku gave Frieza key and he flew away, then Frieza attacked him. If that key blast actually defeated Goku, well,
end of Dragon Ball.
End of Dragon Ball, pretty much.
Well, not necessarily, because there could still have been a chance, mind you, that something might have been able to get pulled out with the Z Warriors on Earth, because of the fact that Goku hadn't ever been resurrected with the Namekian Dragon Balls. So by the time they gather the Namekian Dragon Balls and attempt to make the wish to bring Goku back to Earth, because they thought he might have died anyway, have just wished him back to Earth and he would have still been Goku. He just was defeated on Namek and didn't get to go and visit Yardrat. So the biggest difference would actually just be that he wouldn't have had as much time to train his Super Saiyan form unless he was doing so in Otherworld at King Kai's, and he wouldn't have learned instant transmission.
Fair assessment, but like if Frieza survived, he could have called King Cold faster, and they could go straight for Earth.
Well, you gotta remember, revenge. Frieza's still pretty jacked up when gives him his key, because he did still slice himself in half, which means he still has to take all that time to get modified. So they still have that whole period where they're reviving people, because by the time Frieza shows up on Earth, everyone's alive again. So it would just be Goku would just be in a situation where he's a little less unfamiliar. He's a little less familiar with the Super Saiyan transformation, and he doesn't know instant transmission. And Trunks still shows up on Earth to kill King. So,
I'd say so. That's definitely fair.
Fair, but the time can be wonky, and that's what Trunks might have.
All right, Zyko's got another one. What if the Spirit Bomb beat Vegeta or Frieza? Well, if it did, then basically what you saw before Frieza then basically blew up Krillin would have happened. They would have just casually gone home, and then that would have been that. Goku would have not become Super Saiyan, at least at that point. He would have discovered it, but it would have been like later on, but it depends. But I would say if it happened against Vegeta, then the day would have been saved and Vegeta wouldn't have been on Namek. Pretty much open and shut, really. Firebrand128, what should a first-time watcher of Dragon Ball watch? The original or Kai? I personally say Kai. I say you watch Kai first, so that means you get yourself into the world of Dragon Ball, and then go back into Z. So you go and watch...
I disagree. Go ahead.
I just say that means you get a gist of what the world is like, and I would say then go back and watch Z. So that means you get the full experience.
Here's the quintessential way to watch Dragon is you watch the first 53 episodes of the Ocean dub, and you watch them twice, and then you wait for 6 months, and then you watch the original run of the Funimation dub, all the way up to about the Cell Saga, and then you stop, and then you watch Kai for the rest of it.
Burn, ow. Well,
they didn't know the pain of all who had to live with the
listen.
dubbing.
You get somebody to read you a bad translation from French over French dub, and then you watch it.
Oh, yeah, the Lecter edition from Poland.
Yeah.
But anyway, Season 2, 2000. What if Lucifer succeeded in blowing up the sun? Well, the Earth would have died. Everyone would have died. No sunlight, no gravity. The world would have just been full to chaos, and Lucifer would have just been like, oh, What have I done? And then vampires maybe conquered the world if they can survive in ice. Maybe. It depends, but you know, Goku would have. They would have died eventually, but not before being really cold. Nick Wolf, what if Goku and Bulma met in an RRA-dominated world, so Red Ribbon Army? I think if Bulma probably wouldn't have had the Dragon Radar. They would have been in exile or something like that, or forced to work for the Red Ribbon Army. They would have had to like break it down from within, almost like a Passione type thing. Like they would have worked together in some way. At least that's what I think. But yeah, that's worth thinking about. So Haverok, write that down.
Yep.
Paparazzi, what episode of Bardock was good and in Super? Well, then we would be accepting that Bardock was the legendary Super Saiyan. We would accept everything that it told us what happened. That Planet Plant and the ancestors of the Saiyans were, ex-rappers, according to and of course, if they're freaky alien genotypes, according to the lore of the Team 4-Star episode of Bardock. And then Lord Chill would have instilled the policy of dance choreography.
Episode of Bardock is so bad.
It's just, I feel like the manga was better, but not by much. But yeah, less said about that, the better. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Bardock was given 24 hours on Earth the day Raddatz arrived and explained the truth to both of his sons? Assume King Yama agreed to this. That would have been a miracle of logistics to get sorted. Because...
Also, would he really wanted that?
Yeah, would Bardock do that?
Yeah, and I also don't think King Bardock that kind of amnesty to go and do that, because he's... Bardock's in hell. Like, this is something that a lot of people like to give Bardock a lot of leeway and wiggle room as a character, but good guy. He did one good thing in his life, which was sending Goku away to ensure his survival, but he was not a good guy, and he went. And I know Toriyama's really not very good, self-consistent with how hell works, like on a spiritual or like, do you keep your body level? But Bardock isn't the kind of guy who would get along with his son Goku at all.
No, not at all. Basically,
the only way that how could this work is if Goku tried to ask Yama about this, but Goku also isn't like super curious about this.
Nah, he's not really, except for that moment in Burst Limit. But that's all I'll say. Darth Vendar, what if Android 1620, Jiro rebuilt from using a supercomputer as a template, and 21 helped defend the future timeline from Goku Black? So basically, if the fighters canon, they were there somehow in the future. So if the supercomputer was still there. Technically it would still be there.
Yeah.
So if somehow the computer was to rebuild 16, which it technically could, because if they have the schematics and the resources and the power to do it, and then rebuild Jiro's body, it's possible, but I don't think they'd be powerful enough. Really? It's a cool idea, but they would have to help in other ways, I think.
I have a better question. Would Zamasu consider Jiro's computer as immortal?
That is very true. Technically, it's not. He'd have one of these, like... You would, I don't know. I feel like...
shall I destroy this? Are you immortal or are you a thing?
I think this would leave Zamasu with a very, very difficult dichotomy. As in, like...
What if Zamasu had existential crisis?
I think that as a mortal creation, he would still have disdain for it. I get the feeling that Zamasu is the kind of person who, after he was done wiping the universe of mortals themselves, he would have cleaned the slate by demolishing their cities, demolishing all that they had ever built and made for themselves, so that the only thing that could continue to exist is simply like the
animals,
pristine
like
beauty
that.
Of nature,
That's true. That's fair. Nick Wolf, what if Goku mastered Super Kaioken before Buu? Well, that would have not been possible. That was a bit of filler in the Otherworld tournament, which is also itself filler. And the logic behind that would be, in a way, the only reason he could even do that for 2 seconds is he's in the Otherworld. That's how he was able to access Super Saiyan 3. Also, it's not, Kaioken's all about raw anger, and Super Saiyan's all about raw anger. They cancel each other out. You can't do one and the other at the same time.
I always assumed that it was actually the opposite situation where Kaioken isn't so much raw anger, but it's a power that's adapted from spiritual synergy that doesn't play well with the sheer rage of the standard Super Saiyan.
It causes a lot of stress in that regard. Yeah.
The God Key aspect of the new transform God and Super Saiyan Blue is something that synergizes Kaioken, which explains why he can use it in the Super anime, even though it's still kind of super broken.
No, I personally think it makes more sense because Blue is meant to be all about calming your energy, and it's calm enough, so that means it negates the Super Saiyan rage thing, and therefore it makes it more viable, I think.
Oh, I mean, theoretically, yeah, it makes sense. I just think it's a little because I'm so sick of Goku getting everything.
Yeah, I know. I think we all are, really. But anyway, Anime Guy 01, what if Earth was home to kind-hearted Saiyans instead of humans? Well, you'd have Sadala. You'd have Sadala of Universe 6, pretty much.
Dragon Ball Online timeline.
Dragon Ball Online timeline. So go and play or read up on Dragon Ball Online. You can find that all there. Paparazzi. What if Goku was trained by the Crane School, not the Turtle School? Oh, he'd have been just like Ten Shinhan in a way. Just trained to become an assassin. And pretty much there. But
it's something that we are working on for the future.
Yeah, we are working on this.
Popped up. Yeah,
we are working on this, Paparazzi. Definitely. Jordan Thompson, what if the Z Fighters develop JoJo stand powers? I want to do a video on this, I really do.
I can't speak to that because I still haven't watched JoJo.
I've watched up to part 5 and the end of it, and I will read the manga for part 6. But in a way, I would like to work on that, but something in the background really, and just think what kind of things could manifest or something like that. What kind of things would Toriyama want to do? The powers would be basically stupid. Because it's Toriyama. It would be a pastiche on Hirohiko Araki's work, but it would be so funny. Champion of Unity Antarctica. What if Vegeta was female? We have talked about this before. You can check a previous What If roundtable about that, but let's give the cliff notes.
With What If Vegeta was female, you wind up in a situation where I know that everybody wants Vegeta to hook up with Goku, but the truth of the matter is that he would be in a situation where his pride, she in this case, would be in a situation where her pride just wouldn't allow her that kind of situation. Plus, Goku's already married, and Goku, even though he's dumb, he is devoted to his wife and his family.
He does keep promises.
And if Vegeta had to wind up hooking up, I think it would probably be somebody who really kind of shares that same sort of warrior spirit. He would the female Vegeta, she would probably wind up like Tien, and heck, I don't know, maybe I would even go so far as to say that depending on how you wrote it, maybe at some point during the bits with Earth and Namek, and wind up with a female Vegeta with Krillin scenario.
True.
But Goku, there's so many obstacles to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag in that regard. Nick Wolf. Now, this is one for you as well, Sophie. What if Trunks found out Mai's real age?
I don't think he'd care.
Yeah, he wouldn't care.
The thing about it is that the thing that's gross about like Mai and Trunks, at least for some perspectives like mine and some of my other friends in the R&R crew, is that Mai is well aware of all of like her past and stuff like that. She knows her own age. She knows how long she's been alive. Like pays a little bit of lip service. Mind is a plaything of the body sort of how she's really old-fashioned, embarrassed with her interactions with Trunks and stuff like that, or with God, the Goku Black arc. The grossness comes from the fact that she knows that she's like a 50 or 60-year-old woman, very least, who is now like attracted to this guy who doesn't know. And I think that if like she were open and honest, Trunks the decision, because Trunks is an adult by the close to like hooking up Goku Black arc wise, thing. But as like shown, they kind of this whole idea that like, oh, but she's in a younger body, so it's okay.
I personally think it doesn't matter, to be honest. You know, it's just like the thing. And also, Mai's just freaking awesome in Super.
I really did like her.
I did.
It was one of those situations where I think the execution better. I don't necessarily dislike it on principle.
Oh. Hello?
I think we lost Sophie.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Yep. Sorry, cut out there.
Did I cut out there? I'm sorry. Point being, the execution, the idea had its merits.
Okay. That's definitely fair. Right, let's keep going. We don't want to get a backlog. Sean Dever, what if Frieza and Cell were reincarnated like Oob? What would their appearance personality be? Well, we kind of went like not so perfect Leak and Azirf.
Azirf.
And is it Azirf would be an Eskimo because he's Frieza. And
like a badass Eskimo lady.
Which was to have him be called Joffrey and have him be like a Joffrey style bratty human child who still has some of his like worse attributes of his personality.
Yeah.
Even if he's not pure.
King Joffrey, yeah.
Yeah, and then Leek would be just basically a person who likes catching bugs. And is always so fussy about it. Anyway, Katie Ritter, what if done correctly, Gotenks was permanent? So what if Gotenks stayed fused?
You'd have to make Gotenks actually
likable,
good, and likable,
and not someone where you want to tear your ears out every time you hear him speak.
I dislike Gotenks even more than I dislike her. And Hercule, somebody who the comedic aspects of Hercule managed. Gotenks just. Anytime Gotenks shows up on screen in the show proper, I'm just like, get him off screen, please. I don't want to see him.
Oof. Yeah. That's rough, but, you know, Gotenks is quite abrasive. Pimp Demon.
The only fun thing about Gotenks is that usually in video games he's kind of fun to play. That's the only thing.
But at least you can control him and you don't have to hear him talk all the time. Anyway, Pimp Demon. Thank you very much for your bit of contributions, by the way. 200 Norwegian kroner. What if Goku didn't forget the seal in the future Trunks arc? They would have done the job against Zamasu. Yeah. Basically, if you go to What If Raddatz Turned Good, part 10, I think. Yeah, it's part 10. You have the bit where Raddatz chastises Goku for forgetting it, and he brings it along. They say, "Brother, you forgot about this blessed piece of paper!" And they do it, and they eventually defeat Goku Black. I think it's Raddatz that does it. Yeah.
I'm actually tempted on writing What If when Piccolo would do it on Frieza. I think it would work.
I think it would work, but Goku would forget something or ruin it. Goku gets in the way, definitely. It's Goku. Anyway, Ben Reitz. What if Vegeta got the heart virus? Ooh. So, if Vegeta got the heart virus somehow, it depends when. But I think probably round about the same time if he was out in space looking for Goku. So if he got that at the same time. Well then, if Goku got the heart virus and still, then we just go into Trunks. History of Trunks story, really.
Yeah, well, and it kind of is like, okay, so the implication here would be that Vegeta had the heart virus but was killed too soon by the androids in Trunks' bad future for anyone to know about it. So in the present timeline, Vegeta dies of the heart virus or even maybe just like gets and Bulma has to try and like scramble to create a time machine so that they could go to the future to get him medicine.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. Fine.
Anyway, Nick Wolf, does Tuesday's Vegeta still hear about Dragon Balls? I think he's talking about what if in Goku King Vegeta saw the future.
No. When?
No.
Well, nobody's mentioned them, so
no, because
he wouldn't know.
They never knew about. They never went to Earth. Raddatz is the only one, technically, out of the group that is actually still alive. Depends.
Yeah.
Well, he's at least not dead yet, but you know he's not around when the whole thing goes down.
Yeah.
Axel Kasai, what if the Red Ribbon Army didn't exist in Dragon Ball? We'd have had a very boring arc with going straight to Fortune Teller Barber.
Yeah, Red Ribbon Army also kind of like... Red Ribbon Army kind of cements Goku, you know, prior to the stuff with like King Piccolo and stuff like that. Red Ribbon Army kind of cements that aspect of Goku that makes him sort of heroic, despite Akira Toriyama's best efforts to make him only like fighting strong guys.
Right. He's actually doing something fairly noble for the world and stuff like that. So, you know, it's definitely something very, you know, it does make sense in a way.
If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have a lot of the build up with leading up to King Piccolo as well. Like a lot of the mercenary Tao stuff comes at the behest of the Red Ribbon Army. So you wouldn't have a lot of the stuff with like Korin's Tower. You wouldn't have a lot of his spiritual and like power growth that he gets outright defeated by Tao, which is a big deal, you know, because he'd lost to Master Roshi disguised as Jackie Chun, which was a big blow. And then he loses to Tao, who would have killed him if not for the Dragon Ball placed inside his gi. So arc for shaping who Goku is as a person, and to not have it might have some pretty interesting consequences, not the least of which might just be Piccolo winning.
No doubt. And Golden Minecart, if you left a super chat, we've got a major backlog, so we are trying to rush through everybody so we can get everybody's read on the stream. So just so you know, you just have to wait a little bit. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Goku met Lapis and Lazuli after defeating the Red Ribbon Army, but before his second World Martial Arts tournament, and they joined him from that point onward as friends, allies, and rivals? Well, it really depends on... I don't think in Dragon Ball they would have been alive, or they would have been children. Because because Jiro was only on like Android 8 at that time. And it seems like he didn't get up to 12 until not even close to Z. So I think at that point it wouldn't really work. Because either Lapis or Lazuli wouldn't exist yet.
I think 17 and 18 are like 19 at the time of their debut.
So right now they would either be babies or they would be children. So I think that's pretty much it, really. So unfortunately, I don't think that would actually be viable. But I don't think they would actually join Goku anyway, because they are delinquents. They are not good people. That's the thing. So I don't think Goku would even like try and connect with them. But anyway, Jerome Productions. What if Yamcha trained under Piccolo? Depends which Piccolo.
It
Piccolo
depends
Jr.?
on which timeline.
And also, would Piccolo really be that bothered to train Yamcha of all people?
I mean, you know, that's kind of interesting after what we did with Journey to the West, like that both Yamcha and Piccolo share some traits from the same character. I think that's something that if it would need some workarounds, you know, to make it work.
And if you didn't want to do it, and if you didn't justify it as just being in Piccolo, you could also just consider, like, you know, what if the Z Fighters took Piccolo kidnapping Gohan a little more seriously, and have like Yamcha go looking for them, and then they wind up joining in with Piccolo and Gohan's training rather than going to Kami. Like at least one of them. honestly, I almost want to say that I see a situation like Krillin being Goku's best friend, winding up looking for Gohan and
Yeah,
training with
that's
Gohan
true.
as a means of like keeping his eye on Piccolo Jr. That
Yeah.
guy until that point.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the Jurassic Show. What if all 12 universes were wished into one? Well, that's what we all thought would have happened at the end if if the Xena was trying to do it. Basically, what they were trying to do is just have one remaining universe and just that would be it. So, it depends which universe it was. If Universe 7 won and all the other universes had nowhere to go, hey, there'd be plenty of free planets thanks to Shin.
Yeah, seriously.
That
I
could have
personally thought the twist was going to when they wished for all of the universes that were destroyed, it brought back the ones that Zeno had destroyed long before, and that new arc for Super.
Yeah, and I thought that too, definitely. Anyway, Manifesto. What if Cooler finally appeared with Turles and became canon, and enact the Tree of Might plan on another world? Were that powerful and super for our heroes? It depends if Turles was around, and depends which planet they found it on. Basically, if they found an even better planet than Earth, that would be great. But if they found it on, if they tried to plant it on Vampa, no, they would have had to do their research. They would have had to find an even better planet than Earth.
I don't know. If they planted it on Vampa, they might get some juice out of that thing, just because apparently whatever those spiders and giant beasts like Ba are eating makes them powerful enough. Sit-ups and bug juice that Broly eats leads him to becoming immensely powerful.
Gigantic fauna, yeah, like that actually, that's, we accidentally got a pretty good idea, like, if they planted it in Vampa.
You know what? Let's do that. Make a note of it.
Yeah.
Make a note of it. So that was Manifesto. So
Yeah.
watch this space. That might be a what if. That might be at least a one-shot. A movie what if, almost. Revolt Lars Wolfblade. What if during Dragon Ball, 16 who was reprogrammed went back in time to find Goku and Bulma, and instead to protect them from the likes of 1718 who are serious on eliminating Goku? Terminator 2 based. So basically just turned 16 into Arnie even more. Well, I would like that, because everyone would want to see Android 16 basically be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And by the way, wow, okay, Seaton 2000 with a 50 pound super chat. I think he can jump up to the front of the queue for that one. Masako, I have a question. Would Cooler and the original Broly and Paragus be in your What If Bardock convinced the Saiyans? Both their movies are connected to the original special. I don't know. I've been struggling to think of the next part, but I feel like it's not. No, I think probably not, because this one's based in the original Bardock special timeline. Because it's based with that, the armor's the same, so Broly and Paragus in this one would not show up. And I think I made that clear at the start. But thank you very much for your contribution all the same, and it is a very good question. But I believe in that particular timeline, no, Broly and Paragus wouldn't show up. But I think for any other ones that we start that go back in the past of the Saiyans, I think we would try and do our Minus/Bardock special mesh, as it were. Combine the two. Because it works for Gine. It works for Gine spectacularly. And I think I know that you all can attest to that. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to Auto Johnny. And by the way, what if Kid Goku was in the world of My Hero Academia? He doesn't really have a quirk. All he has is just that he's strong. And that would
I
be
don't
that.
think it would matter all that much unless somebody bring him into the fold, because Goku is the epitome of the hick. He lives in a mountain shack, devoid of social interaction, until Bulma finds him and brings him out of the forest. Like, if it weren't for that initial thing, Goku might have just lived as a hermit his entire life, and not particularly that much stronger, because he doesn't his full-on taste for fighting in the martial arts until Master Roshi.
That at the very least, definitely. Universal Tree Limited. What if Goku had a sister? Ah, yes. One of the classic fan art questions. Goku had a hidden lost sister. Her name is Aika. That one. That old fan art I remember from the late 90s, early 2000s. And I'm like, okay, it depends whether Bardock actually did the jiggy with another Saiyan. Probably. Or maybe it's half Saiyan with, like, some other world or something like that. And it was a girl or whatever that species is. I mean...
Half Tuffle.
Half Tuffle. Oh, that would be interesting. Basically, Bardock fraternized with the enemy. Interesting. That could.
I'm making a note.
Let's make a note of this because it's one of those. It's one of those classic ones. It's one of those classic ones. This could be a candidate for the 2020 What If April Fool. That's a candidate, I think. Again.
Yeah, there will be a poll, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll make a. We're gonna make a poll probably at the toward. But the thing is, the What If April Fools are meant to be a surprise. So
yeah.
we'll debate about it closer to the time and make our decision.
Yeah.
But thank you, Universal Tree. That is sure, why not? We did What If Bulma trained like Goku. Why not? Genth, what if Piccolo arriving on Namek earlier fused with the entire Namekian race to defeat Frieza? Well, if they'd actually thought to do that, basically Piccolo and Nail would have just gone, hey, let's go and find every single Namekian that's left on the planet and fuse with them. I think they would have done it.
I think they could take on Cell with so many Namekians.
Oh, yeah, no. Basically, Piccolo would have been as strong as Perfect Cell if they'd have fused with all 100 Namekians.
Well, because I mean, because the Namekian soldiers' official power levels are listed between 5,000 and 10,000, whereas Nail was 42,000, and Piccolo was supposedly, if you go by the movie 6 pamphlet, around 23,000 at the time of his arrival on Namek. But those low power levels compared to someone like Frieza, when Piccolo, their power goes up exponentially. Yeah, so if you did that 10 or 20 or even 100 times over, like, I think it would have been
been crazy strong. I mean, he would have just wiped the floor with Frieza immediately. Like, just
wow, you defeated him, Mr. Piccolo. No, Super Kami Piccolo.
Super Kami Piccolo allows this. I mean, I want to do that because it's just so dumb. Just like, hey, Frieza, punch! Okay, what's up, Goku? Oh, hey, Goku, what's up? And then everyone, did you just do what I think you did? Well, yeah, he wasn't that strong. What were you all fussing about?
I'm 100 guys now.
And everyone's just like, sup? That would have been so freaking dumb. But I love it. I love it.
We got another contender for the What If episode.
That's a contender. That's a contender. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's funny. That's great. Robert Willing. What if Staff Officer Black was smart and surrendered to Goku, then regrouped with Jiro to rebuild the Red Ribbon Army for revenge? Well, they would have been a lot more organized. That's for sure. And basically, that would have been a nice little kind of cameo. But I think Jiro would have probably backstabbed him. Just like, or basically saying like, oh, 17, 18, let's try our techniques on this fool. Jiro would have basically just like made sure, probably would have killed him to like make sure that he didn't like let out any secrets about the androids. Something like that. He's cruel like that, I think. Yeah. Anyway, Jesse Guff. What if the Dragon Balls couldn't erase memories? Well, Boo would have not been able to have lived a peaceful life, that's for sure. Because, the whole point of that was to make sure that Mr. Boo could actually live a life of peace and get his ice cream. Without that, no ice cream for Boo. He would have only had to... He'd have lived on takeout, pretty much.
Good. Let him suffer. Stupid pink blob.
Oh, ouch.
Wow. Harsh.
Ooh. Manifesto. What if Gohan happened? What point in the story? If Gohan, the fusion of Goku and Gohan happened, Boo would have been destroyed. We did that in the first What If Lightning round. If you look at that, if you look back.
If it had been permanent, it would have been a very, very distressing time for
Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
and Vegeta.
Oh, I spilled my water. Spit out my water there. Jeez. Oh, jeez. That would have been very awkward.
Wait, my husband, son. Do not risk so much.
I thought Vegito being permanent would have been awkward. That would have been... Gohan would have been even more awkward. Jeez.
Chi-Chi would have spun into a depressive spiral with the idea that her husband and her son were now one person. It would have been very awkward.
It would have been very awkward indeed. It's like, oh boy. Oh dear. That would have not been fun. Anyway. Chimeraui. What if Piccolo and Kami never separated? Also, if they were the nameless Namekian, I think they would have been quite strong. And the propensity to become strong. But then again... And would they... But the trouble is, though... Oh, by the way, FF Games FTW, thank you very much for becoming a member. Welcome, welcome. If you want to become a member yourself, you can just click the join button down below this video, and it will really help out the channel, and you'll get some little secret tidbits about projects that are in the works. Thank you very much. But if Piccolo and Kami never separated, we'd have had the nameless Namekian, and probably not had Dragon Balls, because if Piccolo's the more dominant type, he was a member of the warrior clan. So he would have been more of a warrior. So...
And that could be easily combined with, you know, like somebody asked, what if Garlic Senior, you know, have been a guardian?
What if Garlic Senior?
So that can be connected.
Yeah, it could be.
You know what? That's growing on me. I'm making a note.
Because if the son of Katos had not removed the evil from his heart, the former Guardian of Earth would have never allowed him the position, which means that by force or otherwise by choice, Garlic Senior might have wound up becoming the Guardian for Earth. A very interesting position.
That's true. That's definitely very true. Anyway, Jordan Thompson. Hey MasakoX, big fan of your work. I love your what ifs. I was wondering what you think would happen if Charlotte from DB Legends was raised with Goku. Hard to say, because
I can't even answer this.
I can't answer this. I can't honestly.
I'm like I caught up a little bit, but like we still don't have that much with lore with Charlotte, you know. Like...
Yeah, I need to catch up. I do have to catch up with Legends. I will have to be honest. But thank you very much for your contribution anyway. I don't want to try and do any guesswork or bluffing or anything like that, but something I'm not fully au fait with. Jerry Glasspool, 2 parts. What if the Hulk was in Dragon Ball? Hulk Smash. And what if Goku was found and raised by the Hulk? Goku would have had a propensity for purple pants, that's for sure.
I don't think you're very familiar with Bruce Banner if you think that he would be in any way willing to take in a child considering his condition. Like he deliberately tries to separate himself from humanity.
Unless he would see the Ozaru transformation and he would be like, "Oh, this kid is just like me," you know? True.
That is very true actually. So maybe that kind of that bond almost. That's a very good point. J Goss. What if after the Z Warriors received the warning from future Trunks, someone used the Dragon Balls to transform the human Z Warriors into Saiyans?
We answered that on every single
every single roundtable happens. Somebody wants to know about the humans becoming Saiyans by the Dragon Balls or otherwise, and it's one of those things. Like, I know it's the most common question in the What If series, but I personally prefer to try and find ways to keep them human and put them on an equal playing field, because it's so unfair. It has to be a Saiyan to have any kind of importance in Akira Toriyama's story anymore.
Yeah, that is very true. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way of the world, really. Coffeeman AEG. Yo, shout out to the Discord in which I brought up this a bit, but that aside, what if Ten Shinhan was trained by the Turtle School and Goku by Crane School? You kind of almost get that in What If Goku defeated Roshi, in the sense that, you know, Ten Shinhan gets trained by both. So, I think...
Yeah, and Goku aggressive behavior because he's not used to being defeated at all and didn't learn that lesson from Jackie Chun.
No, I would definitely say that's a very good point. Firebrand128. For R&R auditions, what kind of mic do you recommend? Well, I personally recommend in terms of microphones, microphone quality is very important. I will admit that during the R&R auditions for Nappa, there were a lot of microphones that were not great. So, if you really want to get in with good quality microphones, I would seriously recommend a Blue Snowball to get yourself started, which is what Haverok's using right now, so you can hear about the quality. It's good, but your placement is important, so you don't get like loads of knocks and bangs and stuff like that. But it's about $50. That'll do you well, and it's a good streaming microphone as well. It'll get you started. Yeah. Definitely. So, Blue Snowball, that is my answer. Goldstorm, hey Masako, 2 what ifs for you, either of which has likely come up before. What if Vegeta did become immortal on Namek? You can check out my one about what if Vegeta never turned good. That one right there. And what if the nameless Namekian never separated into Kami and Piccolo? We just covered that, and we have made a note on it.
I literally just covered it.
Well, that's the thing, really. It's just, we only just found this out. This was, like, made 39 minutes ago. We're 39 minutes behind. So that's the thing.
Oh, my God, no.
That's the thing, guys. So we're getting through these, but just very, very slowly. But, yeah.
We're trying, guys. We're trying.
We're trying, but definitely this is something, it's very much appreciated. All these super chats go to helping out the channel in this time of uncertainty on YouTube. And also, it's great having a dialogue with you and connection. Something to look forward to. Yep. But yes, okay. JRC, what if Future Nappa or Future Raddatz went back in time and ended up in a different what if storyline? I'd say something like what happened with what if Trunks met Kid Bulma, almost. So, I think if it was Future Nappa or Future Ranch, they probably would be a lot more cautious about it. Or they would just go straight back.
I just got the idea. What if I got the idea for another April Fool's one. What if every single of our what if time traveling characters, Future Nappa, Future Ranch, and Future Trunks, somehow ended up in the episode of Bardock?
Oh god, that's just cruel.
Like after they've done their work in the
to
go to the future, the time machine fritzes out.
Yeah, and they all meet in this timeline.
Oh, that's cruel. But yeah, we'll maybe do that. Alright, Martin Plumley. In what ifs where Frieza and Cole are taken out before coming to Earth, e.g. Gine, could Cooler's DNA be used for Cell instead? Cooler's revenge? Potentially? Yep. Potentially, I'd say. That's something we could... To make things a little bit different, we might implement that in some way for future what ifs, but we'll consider that. EC Cones, what if Jake's turned good? We've covered this quite a lot. They would have died because if Frieza found out, they would have been executed out of insubordination and betrayal, treason, pretty much. No matter how much good jobs they were, none of their goodwill and their previous reputation would have cared. Frieza would have just had them executed, pretty much. Or done it himself. Because, he can't trust them. Straight up, really. It really depends on whether they could get away. Nick Wolf, apologies for bad grammar. Super Chat is stupid today. Oh, well, sorry about that, but don't worry about that. And his previous one from that one, what if Slug was a nuclear option against Frieza's army? So basically, if Lord Slug was on Namek and he turned
maybe
giant,
they had him in stasis, like they had him a prisoner because he's villainous, and they're like, we have to set him free, a la King Piccolo, to deal with Frieza.
I like this. I like this. Yeah,
I like this potentially as something that's a bit more bold in that they use Slug, and they use it, and technically he is stronger than Super Saiyan Goku on his own. If you in an isolation. So, yeah, he probably would have dominated Frieza for quite a long time, and he would have never let Frieza power up to full power. He would have never done that. So I think Frieza would have lost, or at least it would be very close.
Yeah. Question: what do you do with Slag after this?
He would, but yeah, you'd have to contain him back again. He would not be allowed to be kept free.
Yeah.
Unless, well, the question is, would he want to? Would he join forces with Frieza?
No, I don't think so.
Depends.
I think he would be willing to take over
Yeah, it's a good point, though. Alright, JRC. What if Imperfect Cell never told Piccolo about the sub-lab, and the nanomachines continued to gather the cells of strong beings that came to Earth? Oh, so basically, Cell wasn't the typical villain and basically exposited everything to a main character. Well,
we'd wind up with a Cell in the future, probably around the time of either like the Majin Buu saga, or actually where Dragon Ball Super is now if he awakens in the age 780. We'd wind up with a Cell who's actually much more powerful in his early forms than the original Cell was, and then like his perfection would be that much better. He'd even probably human, considering that they might have taken human or Saiyan, I should say, considering they would have taken more cells from Trunks and the various different other human beings. They may have even put some of Hercule's cells in him just because of how much the world idolizes him as some great being, even though he's not.
In short, he'd be perfectest Cell.
Yeah.
Artex GTM, thank you very much for the donation. What if Jiro upgraded himself with infinite stamina or with a younger, stronger body? Well, the thing is, though, he could have used the infinite engine on himself, but he didn't, because he's dumb.
Oh, please stay tuned for What If Power Up episode 4 on my channel in a few
Sophie
weeks.
B Powerhouse. Go and subscribe to that. But yeah, Jiro is dumb and stubborn and prideful. If he'd have just stuck the infinite engine in himself at 19, things would have been bad for the Dragon team. Let's just say
now,
about
admittedly, until like Dragon Ball GT, we really had no confirmation compatible sources. I always kind of assumed that the idea was that they were two sort of diametrically opposed engineering concepts. One have a set but infinite amount of stamina, and then the other one is that you have basically a battery system with infinite potential, but the power has to come from someplace else. So they aren't exactly like, they aren't well, but there's some finagling that'll probably be able to be done, and I'm considering exploring it for my own what if in the future.
But right now, it's just basically an arse pull.
Exactly.
And if anyone is a fan of JoJo, that is riddled with it. So Toriyama, he could do more of those, definitely. I've been boning up on Haruhiko Araki's writing style. There are loads of arse pulls in every episode, and then after that episode, it's never mentioned again. That's the thing. It's so, in JoJo, it's like so, every single episode, once a fight's done, it's never brought back again. Like, that power for the day, never mentioned. You just keep going.
You know, that makes me think that I think Westerners are just more fixated on
Yeah.
Sorry about that, all. My microphone cut out there, so we missed out your very, very well thing, but I think we better move on. But basically, I'd say us Westerners, I think Haverok was trying to say, us Westerners are very more critical about it.
Critical about it and more fixated on continuity.
Oh, definitely.
And on living in the moment, you know?
Yes, exactly. I would agree with that. Kenshin491. What if Raddatz's and Vegeta's power levels and classes were switched at the start of Dragon Ball Z? So basically, if Raddatz somehow got a power boost, and Raddatz was a Saiyan Elite, it would really depend if this was always the case. Raddatz would definitely lord it over Vegeta. It kind of depends, but if it's at the start of Z, then basically if Raddatz... okay, so basically if Raddatz came to Earth first, and he had the power of 18,000, he'd have curb-stomped the planet.
Yeah, he would have pretty much take Goku and or Gohan by force and basically eliminated the entirety of Earth's resistance by himself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Important thing to note is that the viewer asked about their classes being swapped as well, and that kind of makes me think, like, are you that the characters of Goku and Vegeta and Raddatz would in situation where, like, what if Raddatz and Goku by proxy, therefore, were royalty and were born into the elites, and Vegeta was the low class?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because intriguing, to be sure. Like him being like, let's put it on its head and say Vegeta's got the power level of 18,000, but he's not actually royalty, and the royalty is, but their power levels were comparatively low.
Yeah, that's true.
Would be interesting, I think.
That would be, definitely. That's something to keep a note of. Nick Wolf, what if Perfect 21 became Guardian of Earth? So basically, good boy Cell. Would he do it? Maybe. I think he may do it. I think
that's
quite, because he has Piccolo's cells, and if there is some way he could become the Guardian of Earth and somehow Dragon Balls were still around, I think he'd do it because he's immortal. He'd have to have something to do.
Yeah, so, it would be interesting. It would be interesting.
Yeah, no, and basically he would rule with his children. So
the question that I have for that idea, though, is that, I know that the Earthlings have gotten so used to Dragon Balls, they'd want somebody in the Dragon Clan. So the question is, are both of Cell's children, technically speaking, because they're born from because Cell's from Piccolo's cells, not Kami's, does that make Cell does clan, and does that mean his children are guaranteed to be Warrior Clan, or perhaps one of them is Dragon Clan and thus actually has the potential untapped for making Dragon Balls?
Oh,
taking notes.
Yeah, Maita. If Maita was the one that was actually from the Dragon Clan.
It was Maita.
Yes.
And basically, Maita was the one that could make Dragon Balls, or at least something that's akin to Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
And I think they'd be very strong.
Dragon bugs.
Like, they're dragon bugs, yes. They're basically, they're scarab beetles. They're
little beetles with stars.
Yes. Yeah. And then basically you have to, and then Bulma wouldn't have caught them. She'd be like, gross, 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 oh god, it's moving on my hand,
And then you just got to consider the fact that, like, Cell's children are going to be, like, degrees more powerful than Dende.
Of course. Oh, those Dragon Balls would be powerful.
They're going to be...
Super Kami Maita.
They'd be pretty worthy. They'd be close to Super Dragon Balls. But there has to be a weakness in somehow. But we'll think about that another time. We're getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked here. Podo, what if instead of ending up in the Mecha Freezer saga, Future Trunks accidentally went back so far in time he appeared right in front of the Chrono Trigger crew, right before the first fight against Lavos? Well, Toriyama does cross the stream sometimes. With like Tapion and Gokua and Kogu. Trunks would have...
Who are those people? Why there is a frog here?
Pretty much, yeah. That would have been super weird. Funny, but weird, I would definitely say.
Trunks mistakes Luca for an alternate version of his mother, and Chrono for an alternate...
Oh, that would have been funny. That would have definitely been so funny. Okay, EC Cones. What if Launch married Tien? Well, in terms of Toriyama, he did talk about what might have happened. In that, Tenshinhan and Launch, they moved out to the countryside, but their relationship broke down very quickly. It just didn't work out. Tenshinhan didn't really care in a relationship standard way, and Launch wanted to be in the city. Because being out in the countryside... In the words of
Tien in Xenoverse 2, it's complicated. I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's complicated, pretty much. Anyway, Anime Guy. What if no Dragon Balls could bring back people more than once? So basically, if Purunga...
No consequences at all.
Yeah, there'd be... Yeah, we'd have a lot of problems.
I always kind of assumed the direction they're going is kind of like... Earth Dragon Balls and Namekian Dragon Balls will always have their limits, but now we know that there exists the Super Dragon Balls. Mm-hmm. So if we ever really, really, really need something done, we can use the Super Dragon.
Or ask Whis.
Or just ask Whis.
Or ask Whis.
Just go like, Whis, Gohan broke. It's like, Okay, you know, one day you're gonna have to do this yourself, you know. Boop. And then basically, yeah, Whis can do that now. But I basically, or Whis will just go like, no, I'm not going to do it. But you did it for Frieza. That was different. How was that different? It's like, who's the angel here? Oh, Lord, I'd love Ian Sinclair to do that.
We're so far behind.
I'm actually going to SeaCon in a couple of weeks. It's a Dragon Ball convention in the UK, and Ian Sinclair is a guest there, and I'm hosting this event, and I'm nervous as all heck. Like, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. Anyway, we really need to catch up a lot. Okay, lightning round. Martin Plumley. What if the Z Fighters use the Dragon Balls to find Jiro's lab immediately instead of waiting 3 years for androids to show up? Bulma wanted to do this, but Vegeta and Goku said no. Because it's against the Saiyan morals. Because they're dummies. Bulma had the right idea. Basically...
They would have to distract Goku and Vegeta, like, by pretending to...
Oh, Bulma would have had to...
Other warriors.
Bulma and Krillin would have gone and done it. Like, they would have gone and done it.
The biggest problem would be the imperfect self from the future, but it would be manageable.
Yeah, it would be manageable, but at the same time, you know, it's just they would have done it behind their back. Because Bulma knew where Jiro's lab was. She knew where it was. Martin Plumley. Oh, he had done that. Seton Tube. What if Dr. Wheeler or Lord Slug was canon? Dr. Wheeler would have been a fairly interesting character, but don't...
It's so hard to fit them properly into the
Stay
timeline.
tuned. Stay tuned for the next episodes of the discussions like we are doing.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll find a way to make that work. Just need a bit more time. EC Combs. What if Goku was alive for the 7-year time gap? We probably would have had a Gohan that was stronger, probably, because Goku would have roped Gohan into train to help him get to Super Saiyan 2. But at the same time, we wouldn't have Super Saiyan 3. But really, would that be a problem, though?
It probably wouldn't, because when you consider it, what is that Vegeta would have trained extra hard, because he even though he continued to quote-unquote train, he did, in his own way, slack because he felt that his drive had been taken from him.
Yeah.
So if Goku was alive, training Gohan, perfecting Super Saiyan 2 the same way that they perfected it in the time chamber, I think Vegeta would be like motivated to be able to dominate over them and one up them, you know.
Also, no margin Vegeta.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think Goku and Vegeta would become friends much earlier during this gap.
Yeah, probably during the time gap. Anyway, Heartless Fang, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you. And Isaiah Frazier, if the Red Ribbon Army ruled the world, would Goku have agreed to Raddatz's terms, or even compromise to dominate the planet rather than kill everyone? Interesting. We are going to be working with that in a What If coming next week. We are going to be thinking about that, but we personally think that in a way Goku would do that.
Yeah.
But we'll figure that out. But you are pretty much right on the money, I think. Seton 2. What if Ten Shinhan trained under Roshi? That is Goku defeated Roshi. That timeline. Basically, he would actually listen to Roshi and respect him despite his quirks. But yeah, Ten Shinhan would do that pretty much. As in, like, just watch our Goku defeated Roshi timeline. That would explain it perfectly. What if Kami used the Dragon Balls to make himself younger and created his own Kami Jr. like King Piccolo? Would he do that, though? I don't think he would. Or at least he wouldn't do that until he was older again, and he just did not want to make himself younger again.
Kami is one of those very extreme personality types. I can see he's very clearly tired. Like, he's a soul when it comes to having been the Guardian of Earth and stuff like that. That's why it's only ever in super duper extreme situations in a What If where he's willing to like wish his youth back, or like in this case, you know, like, oh, make himself his own sort of reincarnation son, a la King Piccolo with Piccolo Jr.
Yeah.
I really don't think he'd do it unless the stakes were really...
Also, I think he got used of being unique, so like he doesn't want to have more of his kind around.
No.
He isn't lonely exactly.
No, exactly. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Ginyu managed to stay in Bulma's body? I think he probably would have... he would have been found out eventually. He'd have been found out, and they would have probably... they couldn't beat up on Bulma, but they would have basically held her prisoner, and just like try and like
wish her back with Bulma.
Oh, they get the Namekian Dragon Balls, or get a wish somehow to say, hey, switch these people back. But they would incapacitate her some way so she wouldn't wake up. Or something like that. Or they keep a very close guard on
it. We're just fortunate that Super decided that, you know, Ginyu survived the destruction of Namek.
Somehow.
Because if not, and Bulma had still been a frog and had still been on Namek, distinct possibility she might have died on Namek.
Yeah, but I think that was definitely a possibility there. Tristan Mabbott, hey Masako, what if the tournament power was arbitrarily expanded to 15 or maybe 20 people teams? Oh god!
Oh my.
That would have been that would have been a slog.
Oh yeah, it would have been way
Unless you're Tori Otaro, in which case you'd have made it even shorter.
And insulted even more people.
Yes, exactly. But no.
And I don't think Universe 9 and 10 even have that many.
No, I think we would have had some universes with not enough people. Universe 9 being that one. It was a struggle for them to find 10. But that would have been far too many characters, and I think people would have thought that it's just been stretched out far too much, realistically. I think so. But, no, fair point, but I just don't think it would realistically work. Mandatory rescue. What if we see Dragon Ball in the very distant future? Saiyans everywhere with all the forms, tournaments all the time, commercialized Dragon Ball hunts. Dragon Ball Online, everybody! Check out that game, Dragon Ball Online Global. It's a good game. It's in translation, but that pretty much just says everything. The only character left alive is Piccolo, pretty much.
And
Dende. Yeah, so basically that. And if we're the Super Manga is anything to believe, a Cell Jr.
Yeah.
Fernando Onate. What if Krillin in Dragon Ball wished to be like Goku? He would not know what Saiyans are. He would not understand what the heck is happening to his body. Like, you know, he would be stronger, but he wouldn't understand it. I mean, Goku's lived like that all his life, so he would understand it. He just doesn't know that he is a Saiyan. But he has that body, he has those instincts, he just doesn't know that he's an alien.
Krillin, it would take him a couple of years to adapt,
yeah.
And Goku'd have to help him.
He would have to help, pretty much. But, yeah. I think it would have taken him a while, but I think he eventually would have mastered it. Mina Star, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you. Lord Yamcha, what if Yamcha and Marin got together? Totally not biased with that surname right there. Ronnie, by the way. What if Yamcha and Marin got together? Oh, that would have been a very vapid relationship. But it really knocked me for six. When Marin turned around to Krillin and said, "If you'd have asked me, I'd have said yes." That was a gut punch. That was like, oh, ow.
Gut punch undone by the fact that she agrees to go get some ice cream.
I know, but at the same time, it's like she did care for him in a way, but she's kind of one of those people is that if she gets rejected, she'll just cut him off instantly.
She moves on.
Moves on. But I think if he'd have actually said yes and gone ahead with it, they would have actually been pretty good. They would have been a pretty good couple, and I think she would have mellowed out thanks to just being around Krillin. He does that to people.
I've always been of the opinion, and part of the reason why he decided not to stay with Marin was because he didn't actually feel strongly enough about her. I always, and this is just my headcanon, so it's all just built on conjecture, but I always saw Krillin as somebody who kind of liked Bulma, but was never anywhere in her league. And so he winds up hooking up with Marin. He's very similar in appearance to Bulma, but the more he realizes just how much of an airhead she is, he realizes, you know what, I couldn't really be the kind of guy I think she wants.
That's true.
And she wouldn't make me happy. I wouldn't make her happy. And so just...
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That definitely seems fairly viable. But yeah. Alright, Revolt Last Wolfblade. What do you think of the DBZ group facing their version of Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet that would even give the Angels a hard time to deal with? Well, with pretty much everyone thinking that Zidane looks like Thanos mixed with Ganondorf. Zidane? We just need to get our guy who voices Zardon to say, "Oh, perfect balance." I think anyone with the Infinity Gauntlet, once they've got it, boom, that's done. But they'd have Dragon Balls. That's the thing. Unless you manage to somehow do what Omega Shenron did. That was... Yeah, Omega Shenron's basically the Thanos. Yeah. Absorb all 7 Dragon Balls. And you basically... Yeah, that's pretty much it. Omega Shenron. I mean, Omega Shenron, the idea of Omega Shenron is good. The execution, though...
Pretty poor on the execution.
Yeah, but
and if you want to discount GT, it goes so far as to say that Super Dragon kind of that universe's equivalent of the Infinity Stones, as it's implied that their power to grant wishes is near or darn near close to infinite. You know, there's no wish that the Super Dragon Balls can't grant.
Yeah. At the same, that's why I'm very curious why Zamasu didn't just ask them, "Oh, hey, I want to enact my Zero Mortals plan." Done.
He probably wouldn't have thought about it at the time. He probably didn't know the limitations. He just thought,
he was also kind of fixated in rage at Goku.
Yeah.
And then he just wanted to just go like, "Oh, well, I want this thing." Yeah, he just was determined. He was just determined to have his own idea.
You know, no more mortals. Extra points for anyone that who got that reference.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway.
Plus, enacting it through the Super Dragon Balls removes that personal touch of going and killing them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I would have said so. That's definitely a very fair point. Okay. Let's just check something here. Nick Wolf. Regarding Mai's age, would the same apply for Kid Trunks?
I mean, she's still a 40-year-old woman in a 12 to 15 whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think
that time.
Yeah, it depends on when he finds out. If he found out when he was a kid, he'd probably go, "Whoa, gross!" It depends on when he finds out. Yeah, it depends. It depends a lot. Anyway, Frost the Bot by Hobidon. Thanks for explaining Ultimate Combined SS Gohan question. I asked because I saw potential unlock Super Saiyan Gohan official card art for Battle of Gods. Yeah, he supposedly had that power still in Battle of Gods and the Super arc of the same name, but apparently in that time he then forgot it somehow.
But at the same time, it's one of those situations where even off the official, can't trust everything, because Dragon Ball, especially in has been so contradictory in its production of various different things solely for the point of selling more of merch, marketing. The whole of it is it's like the text itself contradicts the very concept. It's one of those things where it's just like Ultimate Gohan shouldn't even need to transform. It's like, yeah, it's cool, Ultimate Super Saiyan Gohan, but it's unnecessary. His power doesn't increase and his stamina would just drop. That's the excuse that Elder Kai gives, Yeah. It's the wrong way.
Yeah, it's just not right. That's fair. And speaking of potential unlock, Pimp Demon says, what if Raddatz got his potential unlocked by Kai? Said by the Supreme Kai. He wouldn't do it. Why? But let's supposedly somehow Raddatz managed to convince them. Well, he wouldn't know Super Saiyan, but his power would increase, but very slowly. I mean, eventually he'd become very powerful, but it's just the question is, though, how long would he survive? If he managed to survive and somehow not get himself killed. Pretty much.
There's another question that kind of ties into that, and I think it's sort of like a situation where you have to
remember
ask yourself,
that we don't have much. We gotta rattle through.
Oh
these.
yeah.
We gotta rattle through these as much as we'd like to. We are way behind because these questions were asked like 45 minutes ago. So
oh gosh,
we gotta rush through these. Okay, Kenshin491. What if Launch's sneezing changes are hereditary? What personalities would Ranch have? I'd suppose probably the same, really. But at the same time, the way I see it is the difference is with the twins. They still have the sneezing quirk, but thanks to Raddatz's DNA in there, it means that that's what it used at a certain time, and under certain circumstances, that's how they unlock Super Saiyan. That's how I think it works. But with Daikon and Muli, the twins, it's basically the embodiment of the two personalities. As in, like, Daikon's the more aggressive one, Muli's the cinnamon bun, pretty much. And I can't wait for you guys to hear what Julia managed to do for the voices for Daikon and Muli. It's so adorable. So adorable. Yeah, the Jurassic Show. What if Bojack or Cooler ruled the Saiyans instead of King Cole or Frieza? So basically, if it was King Cooler, well, it would have been Cooler. End of, pretty much. But I think he would have probably ruled a bit more directly, and Cooler would have acted a lot more like King Cold. So I think it would have just been more of the same, just different person. As in, he would have been more observant and shrewd about the assets and resources that he had.
I think maybe he could get a Saiyan into the Cooler Armored Squadron. I think he would see their usefulness.
Probably Turles.
Yeah.
If Turles is if Turles is canon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that could be potentially interesting.
That's for the 3 idea. Okay, we have another thing. Okay.
Let's make a note of that. Okay, Kai cares. What if the Z fighters had the ability to use Keyblades, and if the Heartless attacked Earth with the help of Frieza and Xehanort? Oh,
Kingdom Balls.
Well, yeah. Disney
Also,
gonna
that's a horrible name, Haverok.
Disney gonna sue. Yeah, that's not angered the Disney overlords right now. But I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts, if anything. So if I can't be qualified to say that. But if they did, if they had some kind of common power thing, hard to say. Well, they would lose because Disney doesn't exist in Dragon Ball. End of there. Disney doesn't exist. That's my answer. But I'm sorry, Kai cares. I don't know much about it to give you just a logical answer. But it's funny though. Cameron Heaton, what if Goku was born blind? Oh. Well, he probably would have had to rely on sensing energy a lot sooner. And Grandpa Gohan probably would have had to teach him that. So
You'd probably wind up with a sort of Daredevil situation, and it'd probably wind up being where it's like he winds up gaining a form of sight through like key pulses. He'd learn to do an energy pulse from his body.
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, maybe he learned to heighten his senses under Gohan.
Yeah.
Bulma, and then when he finally meets Roshi teaches him ki control, so he knows now how to kind of utilize that.
Yeah. See. That could work actually. That's not too bad. Zyko the Psycho. What if after the wish to revive everyone who was destroyed by Frieza and his men, Planet Vegeta was unknowingly brought back? Well, the logic being, and Resurrection F taught us this, is that kind of situation is like the monkey's paw if the planet doesn't exist anymore. So basically, yeah, you bring back all the people that killed by Frieza and his men, but you don't bring back the planet. They asphyxiate in space. They die again.
Yeah.
It's morbid, but it's true.
Because a planet, it's not a...
This is something that I actually, like, one of few saving graces of Resurrection F. That's actually kind of brilliant.
As in, like, yeah, granted, but Frieza's still cut up. That's the thing, and he's still alive because...
Cut up in a moment.
A pun worthy of Ranch. Isaiah Frazier, if in one other what ifs one of the Saiyans, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz got the idea of quickly expanding the Saiyan race and donated to a sperm bank. Oh, give me release, jeez.
Oh my God.
That was a very bad word to use.
I think I'm done here.
Yes.
This is not an 18+ stream.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like something that a Z animation on YouTube would do. Like, you know, Vegeta would just be like, I want to bring back the Saiyan race. And Bulma, and then he feels like sperm bank, eh?
No.
But
No.
oh,
We've got so many more on the list.
Let's.
I want to be off this subject, please.
Okay, let's move on. That's hilarious, and I will think about it in my own time because I have no choice. It gave us a laugh though, and laughter is a gift. Cameron Heaton, what if Goku was born blind or born mute? And I think we just covered that, so we do definitely like that. But born mute,
He couldn't scream during Super Saiyan 3.
No, you couldn't scream. You'd be wondering if your TV set was broken.
It would be interesting if solely for the point that we'd get one of the very, very rare animated characters who would probably have to communicate in sign language.
Yeah.
Which would be good for representing folks who can't communicate.
That is actually very good.
I have a feeling that to use the Dragon Balls to fix that problem.
They probably would use the Dragon Balls to do that eventually. It's a shame, but that probably is what they would have happened.
No. He could tell him no.
Maybe. It depends. It really depends. But that's a good question. It's a good question, Cameron. Thank you very much. That's interesting, because I did do an interview with a person who Kevin, the name escapes me. Wedding Brain. Sorry about that. But I did one about Kevin Andrew, I think, about asking about Dragon Ball characters with disabilities and stuff like that. And this actually rings true. That is a very good point. MR Manifesto. What if Gogeta Blue sent Frieza to the afterlife after the Broly fight at the end of the movie, instead of letting Frieza leave Earth? He wants the fight. Also, he would just be thinking, well, what's the point? Whis is just gonna wish him back. Like something like that. But I think at that time, he knows that what's the point? He's already served his time, and he knows that Frieza isn't actually going to go and do the deed, really. Like, you know, he can keep Frieza on a leash, that's why. He thinks that he's got him by the balls, figuratively. Who's 52? What if Saitama was in DBZ? Go and watch a death battle. Vegeta versus Saitama. But realistically, I think Goku and Saitama would actually be friends for their love of food. And
the biggest problem I see with it is is straight shonen, while the other one is shonen parody.
Yeah.
You know, Saitama is a parody character, and the point of is that he is the most powerful and will find that satisfying battle ever in his life. You know, that's the point of his character.
Until the one time that Saitama has to use 2 punches to destroy someone. And that would be the happiest he'd be ever in his life.
When you've gotten so strong that in your dreams you dream about being weak again, it's a curse.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be being strong. But yeah, that's a good point. The Jurassic Show. What if Goku landed in the world of Dragon Quest? Answer, he'd try and eat the slime.
Yeah.
He'd eat the slime. And the slime would just go, please don't do that. No. Grey Ghost.
Don't eat me. I'm a good slime.
Well, that just makes it awkward. It reminds me of the sperm bank one. Oh.
What? No!
Just like
why, Masako?
Why did you I don't know. It's still in my mind. Next question. Grey Ghost. What if Chi-Chi's mom was a Saiyan? Well, Gohan would have been a full power Saiyan. Full Saiyan.
Gohan's potential would have been reduced, at least until it doesn't matter anymore because Goku and Vegeta rule the roost.
Yeah, it still would not have mattered in the grand scheme of things, pretty much. Unfortunately, Grey Ghost. Frostbite the Hoboden CJ. What if Zamasu Sui Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren? He would have been tanked. Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren, they would have just bodied Zamasu instantly.
Yeah.
And all they would have done is they would have crushed him into something that he cannot... They would have crushed him into a cube and then thrown that cube into the sun, where Zamasu would be regenerating and constantly burning and basically wishing that he was dead. Pretty much. And I'm not talking about Pirate Zamasu with the eye patch. I'm talking about, like, the Zamasu that we see that's, like, pre-Goku Black.
Pirate Zamasu? What are you
In
doing?
Super Dragon Ball
The one
Heroes,
yeah.
he's basically got
Oh my
one.
gosh.
He's got one eye, and somehow he is merged Zamasu fully. No mutated Goku Black anywhere somehow. But yeah, Seton Tube. What if it's Super Dragon Ball Heroes? Seton Tube. What if Yamoshi also achieved Super Saiyan God in the Super Saiyan God legend?
I mean, he did.
The thing is, though, Super Saiyan didn't exist
He's supposed
at
to be
the
the
time.
first Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah,
Yamoshi's the first Super Saiyan?
I don't know.
Or is he
Or
the
God,
first Super
like
Saiyan
The
God?
Super Saiyan God, which is different-ish. Hard to say. Hard to say without more elaboration in the
The
lore.
thing is, it happened so long time ago that that the legend could easily change, and most of the people who remembered what happened are dead. So.
Yeah, Purple Monkey Dishwasher. But yeah, it's there's a lot of ambiguity there. But okay. Who's 52? What if Saitama was in DBZ? Oh, we've already covered that already. Kai cares. What if Kingdom Hearts meets Dragon Ball Super? We've covered that already. Again, I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts, so I can't give you an honest answer without trying to make fun of it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mundy, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you. You too can become a member, everyone, if you just click join down below this video. Okay. Optimus Convoy. What if Goku achieved Super Saiyan Primal, aka Super Saiyan 4, in the Majin Buu arc after he achieved Super Saiyan 3? How would that affect the story? Well, if it was basically Super Saiyan 4, he'd have bodied Buu, pretty much, and there would have been no power drain. Pretty much.
And it would have been a much quicker battle because Super Saiyan 4, that Goku prefers to have an enjoyable fight. Once you go Super Saiyan 4, your aggression is cranked up so high to maximum that you're just like,
yeah,
I'm done with you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, boom, done. Yeah, I think it would have been boopity boop, done, like, destroy Buu. But, again, I would have loved to have seen that happen. Because, well, Haverok would have loved to have seen that happen, given his thought about Buu.
Yeah.
Jared Glasspool, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you. Manifesto, what if the Z Fighters trained under Whis as well? I don't think that would happen, because Beerus would not allow it. Because he'd be going, Whis, why are you humoring all these weakling earthlings? I get better enough with just the Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah, the power potential's just not there because, like, Whis has, like, he's interested in seeing if either of them want to become gods of destruction.
I mean, to be fair, I think that that's the only obstacle, because I don't think Whis would care if Beerus allowed him or not. Like,
yeah, but at the same time, I think Whis would have just been overly stretched, and honestly, it just would have been a bit too samey. Master Riku. What if Gine went to Earth instead of Goku? Okay, so if it was just Gine, well, she would have been still pretty powerful. But she would have
been miserable.
Yeah, she would have been miserable because none of her family would be there, except Raddatz.
You'd have to do a situation where, like, Goku somehow manages to get out of the pod, or Gine can grab him to get him back in the pod. Like, something happens, like a quake from the planet being, like, attacked by Frieza, and she instantly triggers the launch cycle and then takes off towards Earth.
Pretty much what happened in our Gine one. She basically, her butt knocks the launch control, and they fall in. So basically, that without Goku already in the capsule. So basically,
and Grandpa Gohan might have found when he did, like, she'd have been like probably broken, maybe even catatonic, and he would have probably taken her in. He would have probably cared for her, taken some kind of extreme thing like the assault of King Piccolo to really break. Yeah, I think it would have taken something like Gohan dying.
And the only way that she could have basically come back to anyway is when Raddatz shows up. Mm-hmm. When Raddatz shows up, she'd go. She'd pretty much just go. Yeah. She'd go with him, and be like,
"Yeah, she'd ride off
let's just go somewhere. I don't care." Like, she'd have convinced him to leave the Frieza Force, and they just gone to a planet and live together.
Now it would have been a hard movie scene because she'd have broken down on seeing that Raddatz was alive.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Paparazzi. What if Raddatz was a girl? I mean, that hair though.
If Raddatz was a girl, the biggest thing to consider for yourself. Okay, well, personality-wise,
pretty much the same.
Probably. Yeah, it wouldn't be any kind of real difference there. The only real question you'd have to ask yourself, well, the relationship between Nappa and Vegeta and Raditz would have probably been because Vegeta's the only real like person Saiyan-wise we ever really see mocking gender, and I get the feeling it's largely because family who actually do have marriages and stuff,
the royalty and stuff like that.
But I don't think that he'd have hooked up with either Nappa or Vegeta because as interested in continuing the bloodline as a lot of fans like to make it seem, because you can't replenish a population with only but when Raditz Fem Raditz came to Earth, I think that it would have been a situation where pretty much the exact same thing had happened. Goku has never about fighting women before. As long as they're strong, he just goes in. I think it would have probably exact same way as it did in canon.
Yeah.
The only exception is if you somehow tweaked another aspect of the story so that Raditz like maybe survived or something.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
Definitely. Right. We gotta crank this up again. We are nearly 2 hours long in this stream.
Oh god.
Okay, and with Brandon Lee asked what if Vegeta was a girl? We did cover that earlier. But basically just saying not really much would change. And
multiple times. The last one.
Yeah, pretty much that. But fair enough. That's fair enough for you asking, Brandon. It is a very much discussed topic. We may just do that in a lightning round. A future lightning round topic, just to make people understand. The Jurassic Show. What if Dragon Ball was inspired by Norse myth? I would like this. What if Dragon Ball was basically inspired by Norse myth? I would like that a lot. Having name puns based on Norse stuff, that requires a lot of work, and I don't know enough about Norse myth other than Odin, Loki, Thor, stuff that Marvel taught me. I would want to
Shenron, you would have it be Jormungandr.
Pretty much, yeah. That would be fun. That would look so cool. But at the same time, that requires a deep dive. That requires a deep dive dedicated to that alone. But good question, Jurassic Show. Good question. Well, make a note of that, Haverok.
Give me a few months in the cave, and I will go.
We'll come back to that maybe next year. Anime Andrew, what if Shenron was free from the Dragon Balls? Well, technically, he was at the end of GT. Well, technically, but at the same time, I feel like the Dragon Balls were his prison, and if he stays out too long, he gets very antsy. Or something like a physical thing happens that his body gets stressed out too much, he needs to be in the Dragon Balls for some reason. We don't know enough about that though, but that's fair.
To me, I always kind of, because of the fact that like the dragon is so intrinsically linked to the power of the Dragon Ball's creator, I them as partly an aspect of the heavens, but partly an aspect of the Dragon Balls as well. Like, if you were to truly free Shenron Dragon Balls, I would think that they wouldn't like live on as just existing. I think they would wind up splitting, and their energies, their health would return back to the different parts that make them up, like heavens and like Dende, if you wanted to say Dende or Kami.
That's fair. Okay. Seaton 2000. What if the new Broly had the Broly God transformation from the 4D attraction in the DB Dragon Ball Super movie? Is that Super Saiyan 3 Broly? Super Saiyan 3 Legendary Broly? I can't That would have been stupidly funny, and I'd have loved to have gone to see that attraction, not gonna lie. But, at the same time, don't know enough about that. But, yeah, Broly would have been unstoppable, pretty much. He'd have just destroyed everyone. Just completely out of control. Isaiah Frazier. If the gourmet cells from Toriko was a thing in DBZ, Goku would be even stronger than he is right now, pretty much. Goku strongest there is. He would be the flippin' strong, pretty much.
I have this.
Mazik 1988. What if GT Goku was not transformed into a kid, but instead his mind was put into a kid body back in year 749? Back when Oh! Temporal mental switch? Whoa! That's an interesting one. So basically, if Goku's mind was transported back in time... Oh, there would be
no... New Game Plus.
That is New Game Plus!
Oh my.
That new Dragon Ball New Game Plus.
We are doing this. We're doing this.
Let's do that. Make a note of this.
That's awesome.
Let's make a note of this. This is good. Alejandro Gonzalez. What if Goku hadn't hit his head and lost his memories, but still turned good? That would have required a lot of food, starting off. And also, it depends how. He'd have had to have bonded a lot with Grandpa Gohan. And if he could do that and temper a Saiyan, wow, Grandpa Gohan's got a lot of patience. That's all I gotta say. I think eventually he would have ended up just being like, after many, many years, it would have taken a very long time instead of just being an instant fix. Definitely. Jurassic Show, April Fools. What if Trunks became the Saiyan King? So basically, if he was Queen Trunks, he'd have been a very good ruler. And fabulous. Silver Red donated... Well, okay, in all seriousness, if Trunks became the Saiyan King, he'd be a very noble king. But would the Saiyan populace accept a half Saiyan being a king? No. But he is part of the Vegeta lineage. He probably might have taken up the title of Vegeta. Because technically...
They'd accept it. Powerful.
He is powerful, yes. And that he probably would have taken the name Vegeta the Fifth. As in, like, it's
he would make them use swords, because swords are cool.
Swords, that boy sure loves his swords, that's for sure. Okay, Silver Red. What if Vegeta had his inner potential awakened by Guru of Namek? That would have been basically just a free Zenkai, I think.
Well, the power increase is pretty large. Like, you get an initial... I did the calculations for this on my What If thing, because you have to deal with all that math. You get a 2.5 times increase at the start, and then more later on. So he'd have been pretty strong. Yeah. Like, basically a large Zenkai.
It's a double Zenkai or something like that, I would say. Ginyu 2007, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you. FF Games FTW. What if Videl had kept training? I like this. I want this to happen. I would say if we make a note of this, because I want to do this. What if Videl trained like Gohan? That's my new trope now. What if X trained like Y?
Seriously, because she had so much potential. So much untapped potential.
Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Let's make a note of this.
Right now. Yeah,
I will co-write this with you. Let's make it happen.
Let's prioritize this. We can do this for maybe. I don't know. We'll do this soon because I like this. What if Good Boo trained after losing to Kid Boo? How would that change Dragon Ball Super? He kind of did. In a day. And he was basically on par with base form Goku immediately. And thank you very much, Jared, for your contribution, by the way. But yeah, if he actually trained and had the mental fortitude to carry on with it, Boo would have been powerful. And Haverok would hate him less.
Yeah.
Vegeta, Prince of All Saiyans. What if Goku joined Raditz? You will find out what we would do in What If Goku Defeated Roshi next week. You will find out exactly the answer to your question. Isaiah Frazier. What if instead of Vegeta killing Tarbell to force Broly to rage, they pull a Kuwabara and fake it since Broly can't sense energy? That is very true. That is a very good point. But I think Vegeta would have been very desperate in the heat of the moment. If they had some time, to plan this out, then they could do it. But I think then Broly, it would have backfired with Broly getting really angry that they tricked him with something so dark. It would have backfired probably.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, right. The Jurassic Show. What if Goku had the Z-Sword instead of the Power Pole at the start of Dragon Ball? If it could extend Ki or something like that. The Power Pole was good because it had range. And that's the thing. A sword would not have range. He'd have had to find other ways to use it, like maybe use training it so that means his tail could wield it, so he could use his hands, and the tail would have been carrying the sword. That's how he'd have trained it. That would have been actually awesome.
Interesting.
It would have been interesting, pretty awesome.
And if he put another sword in his mouth, he'd have a quadruple sword.
That's just silly, but I'd love to have seen that.
Hey, One Piece does it.
Well, no, technically, Goku's teeth are a sword because he bites people all the time.
Oh, he does. He totally does.
It's a de facto sword. Podo, do you think Trunks would have helped against Lavos? Yeah, he's a good boy. He'll help anyone in distress, pretty much. Darth Vendar, what if Yamcha was turned into an android after being blown up by Cybermen?
Like, oh wow, like Jiro body from the wasteland, and uses it as a basis.
Ooh.
Yeah, like during today's, the question about Commander Black, I was thinking, what if Jiro kidnapped some of the Z fighters and then turned them into androids?
After the Saiyan assault would be the perfect time for it.
Yeah.
No, basically, absolutely. So, in a way, if it had happened, I think it could have been curious. And after the bug was destroyed during the Saiyan attack. So I think Jiro would have then, right, this is my time to strike. Like, I've got all the data I need. I have to basically, if Jiro got off his bum quicker and actually did something about it.
He goes out there cautiously of Tien and Yamcha and knows that they're strong fighters. I mean, he saw their fight. So he takes their bodies to use as the basis for his creations. Like,
there's nothing wrong with with their techniques. If he could just give them infinity engines, oh my.
No, definitely. That would have been pretty surreal. That would have been absolutely like that. Grant Amelie, what if Vegeta perished when Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta? So basically, if Vegeta was on the planet, well,
my son, the planet, or me?
Yes.
All of them.
Nani? Well, I would say probably if Vegeta perished, then it would have just been Raddatz and Nappa. And then basically, yeah.
Without Vegeta there, I almost feel like Nappa and Raddatz might have even gotten along better.
They would have
like
done.
Nappa was like trying to maintain his association with Vegeta as elites, But I think it would have been an interesting.
Yeah, with Vegeta gone. Yeah, with Vegeta gone, Nappa would have just taken Raddatz under his wing.
And he would be more submissive to Frieza. They would basically be a regular duo.
Oh no way! Because it like even though it's filler, the Planet Schick stuff that we see in like Nappa and Raddatz are trying to be like, we need to find people to get back at Frieza, and Vegeta's the one who tells him no, he's way. There's no sense in bothering, and it's not until he realizes immortality with the Dragon Balls that Vegeta even considers like Frieza in that matter, as much as he hates him. I think what might have happened is Nappa and Raddatz, they're sitting there like, the rumors are going around that Frieza's the one who destroyed the planet, and then Raddatz remembers, hey, my brother is. We should go pick him up, and we should start gathering people to take the fight.
True.
Fair point.
That's a fair point. Good point. Paul St. Germain, thank you very much for becoming a member. Thank you. Keyblade Overlord, what if Broly was sent to Earth instead of Goku? Depends which Broly. If good boy Broly, I probably would have
grown up kind of like Gohan.
Pretty much.
Gohan, actually.
Gohan. Just look to Gohan, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gohan,
like, he's very similar to Gohan personality.
And probably Broly would be called Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Goku would have still existed, it would have just been Broly's body. FF Games FTW, if the Super Dragon Balls can do anything, could someone wish to destroy Zeno? Oh, no one would do that. Basically,
I don't think they can work into the multiverse spectrum that much. Because we don't know how powerful Zalama is, and if he's just a name drop, or if they're planning to do something about him. I think he recently got a second name drop lately in the manga, so maybe but we don't know anything.
We don't know about that.
They're only almost infinite potential.
Yeah,
and Xeno's kind of.
Even then, I don't think the Angels would even do that at all. But yeah. Pole Skedaddle. Hey, Muska, what if Piccolo Jr. and Tambourine switch places? I mean, Piccolo would face Tambourine's fate, and Tambourine would live Piccolo's life. Thoughts?
I don't think he'd get away with it. Because, like, Tambourine is still responsible for killing Krillin.
Yeah.
Like, because that's like biggest like plot point in the manga is the fact that, you know, he kills Krillin and sets Goku on this kind of roaring rampage of revenge. If Tambourine's still responsible for killing Krillin, I don't think that Goku would be super quick to forgive him. Like, where there's not very much of a wait between Krillin coming back to life, and then there's years for Goku to just kind of get over the fact that Frieza killed his best friend. Tambourine was a fresh wound. Like, I think he'd die. Yeah,
pretty much. He'd be gone. Like, definitely. So, Tristan, what if Piccolo went with the other Namekians to New Namek after Frieza? We did touch upon that in What If Nappa Turned Good, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. So, basically, if he did do that, then, I believe, really, Cell would have been more of a problem that they would have been less likely to have found, or Kami would have told someone else. Pretty much. And, yeah. Or Piccolo would have come back. He probably would have been trained up the Namekians, and the Namekians would be stronger. And he probably may have fused with them. Fused with more of them.
With 100 of them.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. Vincent Weineman, donating 500 yen. Ooh. What if Vegeta revived the Saiyans and redeemed them? So basically, if Vegeta basically revived the Saiyans, somehow they didn't asphyxiate in space, and just basically were like, yeah, if they try to do bad things, Vegeta would go, no, that's a bad Saiyan.
Say you are sorry.
I have a concept for what if Vegeta revived the Saiyans, but it doesn't involve the last half of the question of him making them like redeemed.
Yeah, I think Vegeta would know better and say they're not redeemable in the traditional sense. So I think that would be pretty much. I don't think that second half would be realistic.
Well, and I don't think he'd take a step towards reviving the Saiyans unless he was in a state of mind that wasn't intending to redeem them anyways, because, you know, they're a race of conquerors. He's not gonna even him back this late in the game when he becomes heroic. So when he was still villainous to some degree, or selfish at the very least.
True. Zero Sum. What if Piccolo fell to Raddatz instead of Goku? So basically, if Piccolo fell to Raddatz instead of Goku. Also, okay, so if Raddatz killed Piccolo instead of Goku. Well, Goku, Goku would have died too. Resisting Raddatz. Tune in next week. Again, a lot of these things will be answered. Caleb Orion, what if Goku trained with the Crane Hermit? So basically with Master Shen. Again, he'd have been raised to become a natural-born killer, pretty much. He'd have been like, he would have been basically becoming an assassin, and probably an accessory to Chaozu and Ten Shinhan. They would have worked as a trio, pretty much. RJ Lee, thank you very much for the super chat. Vinny30S, what if Bardock survived and found Goku on Earth? Well, if we're talking about Broly Bardock, then he'd have basically taken Goku back and explained the situation. I'm his dad. We sent him off to make sure that he was safe, and he is. Thank you so much for your help in keeping him alive. We will spare your planet. Pretty much.
If he didn't have a planet Vegeta to return to, like, say, Bardock and Guinea managed to get off the planet at some point after sending Goku out to Earth, then you could also just say that he kind of shows up, this planet's nice, and then decides to room with Gohan for a while, but
then they just strike it out on their own.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think that's what they do. They just make a house or something like that, and then just live their life, pretty much. Heartless Fang. What if the Saiyans were ruled by female Saiyans rather than male Saiyans? If Queen Cassava was in charge when Frieza was around?
Well, the big thing that you've got to between personality types and stuff like that, from what we are shown of the Saiyans, the only real Saiyan that has any kind of outlying personality as far as that goes is Gine, and even among female Saiyans, she is considered weird. You know, Saiyans are pretty much all just aggressive conqueror types, unless they're the really low power.
Yeah.
Or we have those scientists with those weird Russian or German accents.
The scientists.
The scientists, yes. Oh, wow. That's a good point, though. Asalis, not stating a what if, just wanted to say you're awesome. Oh, well, thank you, Asalis. Very much appreciated. Oh, that's nice. Vincent, again with the 500 yen. What if Vegeta revived the Saiyans to give them a fresh start? I believe we just covered this. And again, yes. Vegeta probably would only revive them just to say, right, here you go. Just start again. I don't care what you do. Just... It
would be a pretty rotten start.
It would be a rotten start. And basically say, if you do anything stupid, I will not hesitate in destroying you. Like, he would just say, you have a second chance. I'm not going to be a helicopter parent. A helicopter ruler or something like that. But he said, if I hear that you're causing trouble, you're done.
I ain't no helicopter papa. Sink or swim.
Pretty much. Eric Copper. What if Goku was raised by the Red Ribbon Army a la Superman Red Sun? We've covered this quite a lot. And we may actually do this as a lightning round. Jiro would have performed experiments on him after realizing his potential. And he would have been absorbed into android technology. It's tragic, but it's what Jiro would do at that time.
And trust me, he would realize.
If you think that Jiro and Frapp wouldn't have gotten right on board vivisecting the heck out of Goku, you haven't been paying.
Yeah, pretty much. It would not have been good. Fred Miller, what if Saiyans couldn't reproduce with humans? Oh. Biologically speaking, and this is speaking from Philly, who is a biology, has a master's degree in zoology. They are humanoid, and therefore they can. It's not like with horses and donkeys producing mules. The only thing that I think could maybe be interesting is if you do have a Saiyan-human hybrid that cannot breed, that they can't reproduce.
Yeah, any kind of half-breed hybrids would be sterile.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, Gohan and Videl would have probably, if they did get together, they would have had to adopt.
Although science knows the examples when so-called sterile hybrids can produce offspring, but it's very weird.
But the question is, though, would Toriyama do his research, or would he be bothered? Probably not. It's Toriyama.
I'm sorry.
It's logistical. It's Toriyama. E1 even 888. What if Lord Slug occurred during Goku's absence on Yardrat, and Slug was trying to force a fusion with Piccolo to gain his body and eternal youth? Oh. Instead of wishing on the Dragon Balls, he'd gotten his youth another way. Ooh, okay. Interesting.
Again, we are making those reintroductions of movie villains into modern DBs, so we will touch upon some of the scenarios in the Lord Slug episode.
In short, I think if Goku was on Yardrat and he had instant transmission, he'd have been able to sense this going down on Earth. He'd say, I have to get back, something bad's going down concerning Piccolo. He'd have just done instant transmission and solved the situation, and then gone back. Brendan Little, what if Zamasu accidentally swapped bodies with Hercule by asking for Universe 7's champion? That would have been hilarious. I'd love that for as a gag manga. That would be so fun.
I think there was a gag manga when he switched with Monaka.
Oh, well, that's even better.
There is a gag manga.
That's even better. Brendan Lee.
It is a thing. Yeah, it is a thing.
Brendan Lee, what if a Cell Jr. survived? Just check the manga.
Yeah.
I think the manga.
We've also addressed this one.
Yeah, just read the manga. I know. Just read the manga pretty much. Nightblade 370. What if Goku had taken Shin's life in the Buu saga?
Well, it depends on whether Beerus is connected to Shin or whether or not Beerus is connected to Elder Kai still, as far as his life force goes. Because if Shin and somebody takes Shin's life, then that would mean that Beerus would die because the life connection between the gods of destruction and the Kaioshin.
Yeah.
And Whis would have become to seek out a new replacement for the God of Destruction.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much was exactly what I was gonna say. So pretty much gold star.
Oh, sorry.
No. I agree. No, that's pretty much the consensus. Fred Miller, what if Goku received immortality via Phoenix instead of getting Nimbus? Ooh, I forget about that. Did that happen again?
Never.
Somehow if he got imbibed or something like that. I don't know. Sorry, Fred. That one escapes me.
Yeah.
We'll think about that and get back to you, but right now I'm not sure. Brendan Little, what if Daikaio, the Grand Supreme Kai, was never absorbed or survived, and it was Kid Buu Super Buu that hatches from the ball? So basically, it was like, oh, chaos instantly. That there would have been no darting around. Barbody's there. Ah, yes, Majin Buu, come back to the dead, and boom, gone.
Yeah, Babidi got guns into.
Yeah, basically, Kid Buu would have thought Barbody was the one that sealed him. It was like, no, get out of here, you. It would have been one and done. Earth would have been destroyed. Universe 7 would have been destroyed until Beerus got off his bum and did something about it. Or now simply Whis would have just gone like, boop, out of existence. Whis would have had to step in, pretty much. Project 6 AM. What if Zamasu came to a different conclusion? What if he decided that he went to Barbary, the barbarians, to civilize them himself, to oppose Goasu's passive beliefs, to shape mortals in his ideal image? Imagine the arc twists. Now that should have happened.
Yeah.
That should have
That
happened.
would make him much more sympathetic character.
Basically, he would have made the barbarians his project. And basically, instead of just going, I'm just going to go forward 1,000 years, let's hope they do something because they're barbarians. Oh no, what about that? Oh, not that. Maybe if he'd have tried to reform them and they still wouldn't do it after him giving him all them all his time, then him being resentful towards mortals would be more justified. As in, like, I tried everything. It's basically Ned Flanders' parents in The Simpsons. Well, you gotta help something, man. We tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. Pretty much. Zamasu just immediately got, I don't like these mortals. But if he tried to reform them, and after thousands of years or hundreds of years, nothing happened, then he could have resentment because he wasted his time. So I think that would have made the justification even better, or just much more reasonable, because we would have been there and it just been like, well, yeah, no wonder. So you know how like sometimes you're trying to give someone advice and they just don't get it and people get frustrated or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much that on a bigger scale for Zamasu. So people could go, yeah, I could relate to that. But yeah. So with that, we are done. We have got through everything. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. We've been going 2 hours. 2 hours worth. Woo! So yeah, we're going to wrap this up. And thank you so much, everyone, for your time. We will be back with you next week for another What If Roundtable live stream. And yeah, so Saturday will be the next What If. And that's going to be a good one. So back with Nappa. So until then, hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Haverok, for joining. And say good night, everyone. Thank you for your time. And have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. And thank you all for the contributions. It really does help a lot to the channel and production of R&R and all that one. And yeah, that one What If is going to stay with me for a while. Bye-bye.